Hello and welcome to a special installment of Sports Reel, an edition dedicated to the Cameroon-Nigeria clash, a potentially explosive confrontation, football confrontation if you don't mind, pitting two African football arch rivals. It is fixed for 5 p.m. local time, and that means Cameroon time this Friday at the Oyo National Stadium in Akwa Ibom State in Nigeria. The second of the two back-to-back clashes will happen at the Ahmadu Ahijo Stadium in Yaoundé on Monday, September 4. Stay on as we begin unveiling our packages. First, with the adrenaline that's bubbling within both camps, that means within the camp of the fans, officials and players of Cameroon's national football team, the Indomitable Lions, idem for Nigeria, the Super Eagles. Here we go with bubbling adrenaline in both camps. We are starting with a couple of technical hitches, but then we wanted to show you how hearts are pounding both in Nigeria and Cameroon in the lead up to that big game. It happens this Friday, well, I'm not very sure if I got my days correct, the 1st of September 2017 at the Uyo National Stadium in Akwa Ibom State in Nigeria. Cameroon versus Nigeria. That's the first competitive game both sides will be playing since 2004. Remember, they met in 2015 in Brussels in Europe or in Belgium, but that was just a friendly. And the Super Eagles carried the day by 3-0. But let's find out what's happening in both camps, Cameroon, Nigeria. Here's the adrenaline bubbling. According to the history annals, Nigeria Super Eagles only seldomly suffer defeat in front of their home crowds. Yet, whenever the opponents are known as the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, the stakes automatically change.
The only thing that will make them to get results, winning Cameroon or any team that will come before them, is for them to have a teamwork, team spirit. And also from the coach, there should be what we call a motivational kind of talk, the player, and also encourage them.
Actually, we can still do more better. We should not look what happened against South Africa. That's football. That's just football. Football is a game of either lose or winning. But I know what happened the last time about South Africa. It will now give them more experience and encourage. What they did, they are wrong totally, but they can still win the match, I believe.
The coach, we need to do something. The players are playing variously they are playing individually in their various clubs. So if they can bring them together, let them play as one family. Let them play together, not playing as if I know what I want to play. I'm playing with you. That's just the spirit of football. Let the team work for them. That's all.
And as the countdown fast narrows to this Friday's match, the 3 FIFA 2018 World Cup qualifier, adrenaline is steadily bubbling within the ranks of the eternal football foes.
C'est une première pour moi et une première pour beaucoup de mes coéquipiers.
This time around, the battleground will be the Godswill Akpakpio Stadium in Uyo in Akwa Ibom State. In the lead up to the potentially explosive clash of the West African neighbors, football bookmakers say the chances are heavily tilting in favor of Cameroon. While the Super Eagles answered absent at this year's Africa Cup of Nations in Gabon, the Indomitable Lions went on to surprise the world by bringing home the token of victory.
Siani, pelota larga de Siani, Controla allí de Abubakar.
Ahí está.
Gol, 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 gol. Ha sido él. Ben Abubakar. Formidable. Gol de Camerún. Aquí está la Copa de África. Impresionante, se quedaron parados como si no valiera. Los defensas, el propio guardameta.
Camilla ahí también.
Roger Mila también en el banco con Samuel Eto'o. El gol de Camerún en los instantes finales. El gol de Camerún, ahí está Eto'o a su lado. Mila va a ganar Camerún su quinta Copa de África. Impresionante gol.
And that victory unlocked the doors for the squad, largely comprising untested no-names, to go rub shoulders with three of the world's best selections, including reigning global champions Germany, Australia and Chile at the Russia Confederations Cup last June. And though the Lions underperformed at the event, analysts agreed the gathering provided another setting for their Belgian coach Hugo Broos to fix mistakes in the team. And so, from January when they played and won the AFCON to June 2017 when they underachieved at the Confederations Cup tourney, the Lions have played a total 9 competitive games. On their part, over the same period, the Super Eagles, led by German trainer Gernot Rohr, played only one game at which they suffered a 0-2 home ground defeat at the hands of South Africa's Bafana Bafana in the 2019 AFCON qualifier.
And it's heading toward the goal. Just tap it in. It's the goal. And again, South Africa through the Super Sub.
Nonetheless, and despite the partially scraped confidence, the Super Eagles, who count a maximum 6 points from their first 2 World Cup qualifiers against Zambia and Algeria in Group B, say they are leaving no stones unturned as they fold sleeves to welcome the indomitable Lions at Uyo on September 1.
We have a good situation in our group. The results are good, but we must make better always progress. When you don't progress, you regress. So we want to find better players, we want to have better team, we want to have young players, so we want have players who are playing in the clubs, and this is now the moment to help them to find perhaps clubs.
They will then travel to Yaoundé for the return leg game 3 days later on September 4 to confront the indomitable Lions, who have only 2 points to write home about from their first 2 qualifiers against Algeria and Zambia. Even so, and going by trickling reactions, the Nigerians remain wary, especially when they look back at the final of the Africa Cup of Nations in 2000, when the Lions rubbished all forecasts to inflict injury on the Eagles and lift the trophy at the National Stadium in Lagos.
It is a very crucial game. You are as good as qualifying for the World Cup if you win. And if you don't win, it's as good as saying no 2018 World Cup for you. So it's a very, very crucial game, not just because of the points, also because of the rivalry that exists between Nigeria and Cameroon. So it's a must-win game for us.
Only the group leaders will book a place for Russia 2018. So the last guy you saw there in the yellow shirt is actually the spokesperson for the Nigerian Football Association, the NFF, which logically means Nigerian Football Federation. I'm not very sure why they call it Association, though. But then, if you ask my opinion, I would tell you that he was very modest in the way he analyzed the situation. Because I bet you, if you talk to a couple of Nigerians, both in Cameroon, from where we're broadcasting, or across the border in Nigeria, about what will be the outcome of Friday's game, I am certain 80 to 90% of them will say, Otofiakwa. What does that mean?
That would mean, God forbid.
God forbid. Welcome, Mokum.
Thank you very much, Divine. And
it's such a pleasure to have you, Thomas.
Thank you.
What's your feeling about the game? What's your take? Who's going to win?
It's going to be a very tough one. The match is going to produce fireworks. First, Nigeria is the 38th in the recent classification. Cameroon, the 35th. What is separating them? I'm talking about the FIFA classification.
Three ladder rungs.
Ladder rungs. Nigeria is topping the Group B with 6 points. Cameroon has just 2. Nigeria was able to win Algeria 2-1. Nigeria was able to win Zambia 3-0. But these two countries, we have been able just to draw with them 1-1 on either side. So it's going to be very, very difficult. And I see the possibility of Nigerians defeating the Indomitable Lions at their own backyard at the Godwill Stadium in Oyo in Nigeria.
You know why I'm rubbing my left eye? Whenever I feel like I'm impressed, I do this. It's natural. But I'm very impressed considering that we just, pulled you out from something else you were doing. Yeah. And you have this very brilliant analysis of the situation. Mm-hmm. Now, some people say Cameroon actually won the Africa Cup of Nations this year. And that, the balance tilts in favor of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. They've played 9 matches ever since they won the cup in January to June when they participated at the Russia Confederations Cup. Nigeria have only played 1 official match at which they lost, like you heard in the report, to the Bafana of South Africa by 0-2 in their own backyard at the same Uyo Stadium. Does that tilt the balance in the favor of Cameroon?
Football, I've always said, is not history. It's not because it's not because you.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's not because you are the current African leaders that you think that you are going to defeat the Super Eagles of Nigeria just like that. No, you need to put practical things in place. Let me also.
What some of those practical
things? Let me also say our coach, we started training just only on Tuesday. Out of the 23 players called to come by head coach Hugo Broos, just 10 made it to come on Monday, and it's been said proper preparation prevent poor performance. We shall be leaving for Oyo today without properly preparing. So I see everything in the favor of the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
We are playing with a team that's largely composed of the foreign-based professionals. You have only one, Pangop France from Union Sportive of Douala, which means he's the only home-based man in the 23. These are professionals. They don't need to come and train in Cameroon, right? They've been training abroad.
Professionals in different league, we need that cohesion. We need to understand each other.
That's why I was talking about 9 matches, because when they play the 9 matches, the core of this squad are those players who played those 9 matches. Apart from France, Pangop.
France,
and Tolo Nohu from the US.
That will not
the
change.
Rest are basically the same people. Right?
That will not change the fact that you have new players, you have new blood injected into the team. If you got the coach Hugo Broos, where we won the African Cup of Nations 2017, he said the Indomitable Lions were a group of friends. We need to understand each other to be successful when it comes into the world of football.
And of course, recently at a news conference in the capital Yaoundé, he actually said that he thinks that a couple of players have not been really playing their role, and that he thinks Cameroon needs a severe coach to be able to inject discipline in that team. A team you invite 23, only 10 make it for day 1 of the preparations for such a crucial game. I think it's going to be a decider. But right now, let's take you across the border to Nigeria and find out what people in the streets of Africa's most populous nation think about what will be the outcome of Friday's game. Here we go.
What I think there is that Cameroon is a great team. They can play very well. But we as a country, we need to unite together and focus. Nigeria also in their squad, they can also do fine. But me, I strongly believe that the scores is going to be 3-0. But Nigeria is going to deal with them in that next match. And also on Tuesday game, which is in Cameroon, I know that I thought we are going to see a draw with them in that match.
The squad is strong enough in the sense that they are still the same players we have been using that has carried out the same previous matches, and we have won crucial games and both home and away. So I believe with those in camp, they'll be able to do very well. And I mean, being that I've seen them playing in their various clubs doing well, and also I believe with that spirit they were able to carry out the game without even a doubt that definitely will win the match. Probably with the way we'll see the things, Cameroon too are the current African champions. So with that, I will just say 3-0 is it's good for us.
I think so, but I don't know if I can vouch for them though. But though I feel we've got more average player in our team, but with a team as vigorous as Cameroon, we could pull out a stunt. But I don't know if we'll get a ticket. That's it. I don't know if we're going to win the game. The game is going to be a dicey one. And for John Mikel Obi, he's a reliable player, and hopefully he'll do his best. But you know, it's a teamwork. If they can pull heads together and coming with different players, new team with a new coach, and I don't know, but I think it's going to be a dicey one. That's what I think.
I believe, because I believe in my country, that no matter what, they will win, and they will be the one to come back home with glad, and they'll give us more. They'll even reach our expectation. I believe that Nigeria will win this Cameroon, and I'm sure that if we Nigeria can keep having faith on them, they will win and they will come back home with happiness. And by the special grace of God, I'm very sure Nigeria will give them 4-2.
Well, honestly, I believe that if we plan well, train well, and up our game, like, we should be able to beat them. Because I don't really know much about football, but I don't see Cameroon on our level, so to say. So I believe we should be able to beat them.
No, I have 70-80% assurance, because I see the defender and the midfielder and the attacker that he invites. I'm very happy for what the coach did. But I trust we are going to catch them out. We are going to beat them 3-0.
Yeah, I believe with all the effort they are making, I have seen their squad. They are capable of beating Cameroon. I know they are going to do it once again. As they do during the time of Kanwan coach had them, all of them succeeded, which will carry the cup. I know this time around we are not going to fail our country. They are going to do what the main thing that we are expecting to do.
They can try and actually win the game. I don't know about. I actually watch football, but I don't really go deep into football. But from what I know, I think Nigeria can try their best, and I actually believe they can actually beat them if they try. They can beat Cameroon. The outright victory is not actually sure, because we don't know what Cameroon has in stock for Nigeria. But all we're saying is, people are coming in. Mikel Obi, Victor Moses, they are coming in. That doesn't mean that even if they work, Cameroon is not planning something too.
I will say that they can do that based on we have what it takes to win Cameroon for the match, you get? But on the other hand, they have to warm up to know that they are facing a very difficult team as well, you get? Because Cameroon is not a team that you can just beat like that, understand? So they have to, warm up themselves, and they have to have a lot of training in order to defeat these people. We are talking about Cameroon. And I wish them luck, and I believe that my country, Nigeria, is going to do well for the match they have to play with Cameroon.
Yeah, with the life of Mikel Obi and the Igalo, those people, they have fighting spirits in Super Ego. I believe strongly they will win that match by 2 goals.
The truth of the matter is that the players, for me, they are topping the football. I wish them best of luck. But I don't have interest in watching Nigerian football because the NFA has failed the country. They don't want to organize the match fine. All these young players, or most especially the coach, that we are supposed to be carrying the people along. Maybe because of saying no, give them bribe or something of that nature, they're not going to allow the person to continue. You see everything scattered. So for me in particular, I don't have interest in watching that their stupid match again. To me, it's stupid. I don't have, because they will always kill my interest.
I believe that Nigeria will triumph over Cameroon because I know the players are comfortable in their own set of mind, that they believe that they are capable to defeat the Lion of the to me, I believe Nigeria will defeat Cameroon 3-1.
The Eagles must indeed come all out, on home soil in New York on the 1st of September to indeed declare their intention against the African champions, which is very, very key at this point in time. The way things are going, I feel the Super Eagles have got the edge, playing on home soil, having 6 points, psychologically going into that encounter. I think the Eagles have got the edge.
And so that was a couple of Nigerians voicing their perspectives out there. That was on the street of Lagos, on the streets of Abuja, and of course at Uyo, where that game is going to hold 5 p.m. Cameroon time this Friday, September the 1st. And you're watching a special edition of Sports Review. Special because it brings a focus in the lead up to that big game. Remember, every time Cameroon and Nigeria have a date, it's always a date with destiny. I want to ask you once again, Thomas.
Yeah.
The Nigerians you listen to, many of them seem to me to be speaking from their hearts and not speaking with their heads.
Speaking from
everybody's gone for Nigeria 2-0 or 3-0 or something.
Just like myself, I'm going in for the Nigerians because putting statistics together, they are better placed than us. They have
why better placed? FIFA rankings, they're behind Cameroon. They were absent from the 2017 Africa Cup of
Nations. Group classification, they are 4 points above us. Let's be practical. But I don't want to speak for my heart. I want to speak for the mind. Let's see how Friday encounter at 5 p.m. is going to look like. It's only after the 90 minutes when the man in black must have sounded his last whistle that we are going to conclude. Football, like I said, is not history. It's not statistics that you start thinking that okay, because I defeated you at the away leg, I'm going to do same during the return match. It's not history.
Cameroon actually played the draw with the Algerians, and Nigeria welcomed them at Uyo and spanked them 3-1. 3-1.
Yeah. And
the same thing with Cameroon and Zambia. Zambia a draw, and Nigeria went
and trashed them 2 goals to 0. If you want to look at all these teams, you see that we are at risk. I added the fact that you call players to come, they will not come. Just 10 could appear out of 23, with the fact of FIFA normalizing, bringing psychological disturbance to.
Should that disturb professionals? That's not their business. The coach says he would have loved to have a reaction on that. I mean, Coach Hugo Bruce, he would have loved to make an official reaction on that, but he says it's not his business. His business is guiding these boys to go and play. They're actually professionals.
Whether you like it or not, as a professional, you are first of all a national, and national issue can disturb you psychologically.
Isn't that normalization good news? We're actually going to come to talk about the government of Cameroon saying it's now hostile towards FIFA's decision to impose a normalization committee on the management of Cameroonian football. But isn't it good news for Cameroonian football that's been dragged along in the mud for this long?
If Tombi Aroko Sidiki in his reign as a president, we could grab the 2017 African Cup of Nations, it was good. But the process to his election was wrong, according to Abdurrahman Baba Hamadou. The process was wrong because immediately when the former president was dragged to court for embezzlement, it was the vice president, John Beginning, the former minister of transport, who was to see election for a new president.
Would you love to see John Binder come back to Fecafoot as president, for example?
I know
where you come from. Honest, yes. You come from Bamenda.
Bamenda, yeah.
To face the facts. John Binder is from the same area.
He's from Santa. I don't want to see any of those old booms into Fecafoot. I want young blood to be injected into the system to, if not, why not footballer? As we speak, Samuel Eto'o yesterday went to Yaoundé for consultation. He's a personal friend to the president of FIFA, Gianni Infantino. I think maybe
should we look at friendship strings attached to this thing at this point in time, or should we go in and say we want to overhaul and redo the management of Cameroonian football for the betterment of all of these young people who's lost hope in all other aspects in life and only looking for football as the way out?
If I want to say football for footballers, politics for politicians, Samuel Eto'o, just like Jeremy Jitap, are better candidates. Let's forget about.
Should Eto'o, for example, be placed at the helm of the committee?
If possible, let me give you another example. Abubakar.
You didn't answer the question. Should Samuel Eto'o be placed at the helm of the normalization committee?
The normalization committee will also have some political aspect of it. Samuel Eto'o is not a very good politician. I want somebody who is young but who can understand the politics of football.
And that's why some people say that Cameroon's football going in the wrong direction is wholly as a result of the injection of politics in the beautiful game. Now, Jean Lagrasse Fandio is on the machines alongside Emmanuel Bivika on the cameras. And let's take you to Yaoundé because we're talking normalization of Cameroonian football and tell you exactly what the government thinks and what it is actually doing. On behalf of the government of Cameroon, Sports and Physical Education Minister Pierre Ismail Bidum-Kwat has declared that the country is not hostile to FIFA's decision to impose a normalization committee at the helm of the crisis-rocked Cameroon Football Federation FECAFOOT. Minister Bidum-Kwat voiced the pronouncement last week after the World Football Modulating Body overruled the controversial 2015 election, which, despite resonating outcries, catapulted Tombi Aroko Sidiki to the helm of the association. FIFA's intervention follows long months of legal disputes successfully piloted at the Lausanne-based Court of Arbitration for Sports CAS by the hard-nosed Abdurrahman Baba Hamadou. It also comes on the back of an ignored annulment of the same electoral process by the National Olympic and Sports Committee and recent failed attempts by FIFA to bring the warring factions to reason. The Interim Normalization Committee, the second to be imposed on the country in a period of 4 years after another led by former Minister and Professor Joseph Owona set up in 2013, will run the affairs of the Federation until fresh elections scheduled for February 28 next year. And according to Minister Bidum-Kwat, the FIFA decision is not synonymous to a banning of the Federation. The decision comes as Cameroon struggles to complete necessary infrastructure ahead of the 2019 AFCON amid risks of losing the tournament hosting right. In early August, CAF boss Ahmad caused a genuine stir by declaring that Cameroon was unfit to stage the Continental Football Congregation, which has been expanded to 24 teams and 6 venues, up from 16 and 4 respectively previously. Morocco and Algeria have announced their intentions to replace Cameroon just in case the worst happens. Meantime, in a recent press outing, the evicted Tombi Aroko, who spent 23 months illegitimately occupying the FECAFOOT presidency, acknowledged his ejection, stating in passing that the interests of the nation rank way above his personal ambitions. I think like many other Cameroonians do, that this is good news for Cameroonian football, depending on how genuine the intention this time around is going to be. And I'm not very sure how genuine Tombi Aroko Sidiki, the ejected president of the Federation, actually is when he claims that the interests of Cameroon as a nation far surpass and exceed his personal ambitions. That's being fair with Cameroonians.
It's not being fair. Once you are forced into situations, once you are forced into situations, you come up with reactions like that. That's my take. You noticed from earlier on that you had placed your pride and your personality above Fecafoot, and when you're sacked out, or when you begin making statements. It's my take. So
some people think he should have stepped down, honorably before now.
I think the applause is loudest when you step down honorably. When you are being disgraced, I call it disgrace. When you are being disgraced,
He actually came to that news conference all alone. All of his lieutenants were not there. He came there just, like with Pierre Batamak, who is a steadfast friend.
Let me just give you, he had promised the construction of stadiums across the national territory. I give you a very good example of where I'm coming from.
Bamenda.
Grounded
to a greeting halt.
Grounded to a greeting halt. The Prime Potomac was to do the construction. They promised us after 6 months. It's almost 2 years now that they promised us. It's still lying there. Many other facilities of this nature. So Tombi had his problems, and FIFA too was watching.
Curiously, Prime Potomac, I heard the general manager or managing director, depending on whether you speak American or English, saying that he's coming back with Cameroonians, and the government has given him another contract to work to fix infrastructure ahead of the 2019 AFCON.
Maybe the contract, I'm just saying maybe the contract was given...
With Fecafoot was problematic?
Oh, yes, maybe the contract with Fecafoot was problematic. Now his Prime Potomac is working directly with the government. The president, the number one sportsman of the country, has said
he is personally... That title, I'm not sure who gave that title.
He gave the title, and so he should accorded the respect. He said he's personally going to supervise these facilities, and I'm sure this time around Prime Potomac will be dealing directly with the government and not Fecafoot.
Okay, and now let's leave Fecafoot and the government away and take a closer look at Hugo Broos's list of 23 selected players for the big game. Remember, Cameroon versus Nigeria, 5 p.m. Cameroon time, Friday, September the 1st.
It's a journey that we gotta pass through. We got a destiny.
Apart from Franz Pangop of Union Sportive of Douala, called up as a last-minute substitute for wounded Carl Toko Ekambi, Hugo Broos's roster of 23 foot soldiers summoned for the confrontations against Nigeria would have featured no home-based players. The list of convened players, including 3 goalkeepers, 8 defenders, 4 midfielders and 6 attackers, marks the return of Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting, who answered absent at the June Confederations Cup in Russia and has recently relocated to Stoke City in the highly competitive English Premier League. Fabrice Oliga of Belgium's Royal Mouscron and Yaya Banana from Panionios in Greece. They have not donned the Lions regalia for long stretches. The roster also features the first national team appearance for Nohun Tolo, who plies his trade at Seattle Sounders in the US Major League Soccer. Answering absent are Ajax Amsterdam's goalie Andre Onana, who according to coach Hugo Broos has requested not to be invited anymore, as well as Olympique Marseille's Clinton Gier, possibly sidelined as a result of another injury. Idem for Canada-based left flank offensive defender Ambroise Oyongo Bitolo, who was incapacitated shortly before the Confederations Cup. For the rest, Broos maintains confidence in his reliables, from goalkeeper Fabrice Ondoa through the likes of Michael Ngade and Adolphe Taker at defense, Arno Jum and Sebastian Siani at midfield, to Vincent Abubakar and Benjamin Mukanjo up front. So that's it. That's how we saw through the lenses into the den of the indomitable Lions. Of course, the new generation put together, if you don't mind it, assembled by Belgian coach Hugo Broos. And you can note major absences: Clinton Djie-Moua from Olympique of Marseille, Andre Onana from Ajax of Amsterdam, to an extent Sally Edgar and the likes of Jacques Zoua, and well, why not Oyongo Bitolo, who was incapacitated just before the Confederations Cup in Russia. They've been unable to make it, but curiously, Andre Onana, who is first team goalkeeper for Ajax of Amsterdam, has, well, reportedly told coach Hugo Broos he no longer wants to be invited to represent Cameroon. This is audacious, right?
You know, once you performed best and good in your club, and then your coach of the national team calls you to be benched, to some their morals is weakened, and he is a player. He has his right.
It is true that we've known confrontations of this caliber between the likes of Thomas Nkono, Antoine Joseph Bell back in time, but this generation is a generation of young people who have ambitions. Sometimes if you mess up at the level of your club, and forgive me if that word sounds a little bit too hard for you, if you don't perform as expected at the level of your club, you can use your national selection as a safety net. Now, when this young man says he doesn't want to come play for Cameroon anymore, what happens if he is finally benched at the level of Ajax Amsterdam? He's compromising his whole football career.
That's weak. You know, the World Cup is an opportunity. It's bigger than all the other competitions in the world, and it's an opportunity for you to sell yourself better. Even at the bench, you should have hopes that from time to time you could be sent for a match as a replacement.
In effect, he actually proved his worth for Cameroon when he was called up to man the goal post during that friendly against Nigeria. Cameroon were beaten by 3 goals to 1, to nil.
To nil, you will not attack. You will not accuse him entirely. You accused the defense line and the entire team. Maybe it's because of that.
It's hard. It's uncommon to find Fabrice Ondoa conceding 3 goals in such circumstances.
Such mistakes. That's just to prove that Fabrice Ondoa is better than him. But that will not mean that you will not be given the opportunity.
Is the national team level higher than the club level? Is there any difference when you play for the national team at the level of keeping the goalposts?
It depends on your personality. Footballers nowadays have taken money and financial issues above the fight for nation, the fight for the flag. So if you want to place money better than your country, then it's fun and good for you.
And purportedly, and this one is of particular interest to me, because I tried to cover him in detail when he started debuted appearances for Cameroon's national football team. He's called Clinton Djie-Moua. Purportedly, he is injured, and that's why he cannot be present for this big game against Nigeria. Thomas, it's a down and down thing for Clinton Djie. Before the qualification for the 2017 Africa Cup of Nations, it was up and up.
Up and up. I want to see the coach Hugo Broos recently made a statement that if Clinton Djie will not watch his attitude, then he's going to go down and even downer. Pememi use that expression, and even downer. You know, he has taken pride to supersede his attitude in the world of football. The Boya guy, the Bakwere boy, has taken pride just like a Bakwere man. Sorry, I'm not saying that Bakwere people are poor people, but they say they are.
And I'm sure you'll be faulted for saying that in some quarters, because Canal the English is hardly watched in that part of the country. No offense
intended. So the coach had warned him, and as a player, if you want to be successful, you need to watch at your attitude. Recently, the president of professional footballers, Jeremy Sorendita, was in the Northwest region to hand over boots to second division team, and he said the best tool for a player is your attitude, humility, hard work and attitude,
discipline.
You not abandon training session to go clubbing. You will not have a match tomorrow and you get drunk in a nightclub. So Clinton Djie and other players should watch their attitude.
Back then I was writing stories for the sports section of the Herald newspaper, and I remember writing the story on Djemba Djemba. Remember the popular Cameroonian footballer who was first Cameroonian to play for Manchester United in the prestigious English Premier League. Well, that story went like he would tell his club managers that he had a bereavement in Cameroon. He takes a flight to Douala, spends 2 nights in the nightclubs, and then goes back weak and feeble, and his output kept on dwindling until he lost his tracks, and is currently roaming all over the world in search of lost glory. Now let's look at the returnees, Thomas. Choupo-Moting is back. That's good news.
Choupo-Moting is back, but somebody like Sally Edgar to be sidelined.
Sally Edgar, Jacques
Zoa. It's danger. You know, the 23-man squad we took to the African Cup of Nations needed just some few adjustments, and to me the adjustment was at the attack line. That was very porous.
But you have Zambo Anguissa, who's an impressive player. We didn't see him much at the Nations Cup.
Yeah, with Zambo Anguissa, an impressive player when
he fits in well for Sally.
Sally, better replacement for Sally. We are waiting. Somebody said the coach Hugo Bros is just been lucky. If you look, let me give you a statistic. If you look at the 7 attackers he called for camp during the just ended Africa Cup of Nations in Gabon, out of the 7, I think just 2 were able to score. A defender came from behind.
Three of those 6 attackers scored. Mukanjo, the captain, Vincent Abubakar, and one other. We'll give you the name in the next couple of seconds. It's just rushing out of our minds. But the important thing is that it's a defender that took the top scoring
award for Cameroon, scoring 2 goals. And
Mikael Gade.
He,
right, of course, he's on the lineup for that game against Nigeria this Friday. You were talking about the returnees, right?
Yeah.
And we looked at Choupo-Moting, and you were in agreement that this is good news for Cameroon.
It's good news for Cameroon. We know Choupo-Moting is a very, very nice player. We hope they have the combination that they'll need. I was saying that these players, they can do good at club levels, but even at that, they will still need that cohesion at the national team. So we need more. They need more time to play together. The training has been very, very. Should I say? Because the coach came out with a program 1 hour 30 minutes twice a day for 3 days, and on the first day just 10 players came up. I only hope by now they have understand the playing style of each other.
And so some observers will agree with what I'm going to say right now, and I'm going to say that since the era of left winger, I've forgotten his name, the guy who used to squander penalties for Cameroon, Pierre Womeland. Cameroon has had recurrent problems with his left flank. And at this point in time, as we speak, and as Cameroon builds up muscles for that big game against Nigeria, some are saying that very problem is going to crop up once again, especially considering that left winger Ambroise Oyongo Bitolo is off the pitch for that game. Remember, he suffered an injury just before Cameroon traveled to Russia for the 2017 Confederations Cup. He is actually still convalescing, and the hypothesis is that Coach Hugo Bros may choose to play Mabuka Masusi up at right, and which means Fai Collins is going to be displaced from right back to left back. He actually tried this at the Confederations Cup. It didn't work quite well.
It didn't work quite well. When the coach Hugo Bros first of all published a list of 22 players, then called the coach of the Intermediate Lions, that's Son Rigobert, to look for him a left back. A player from Union of Douala, I'm sure, was proposed. I don't know if he's going to use the guy as
Franz Mangop.
Franz Mangop. I don't know if he's going to use him as a left back. You know, Son understands football, and for Song to propose a player for a national team to be used as a left back, I think we should trust the ability of Frank.
And of course, congratulations to Rigobert Song, who has qualified Cameroon's Intermediate Lions for the upcoming CHAN. That's the Cup of Nations for exclusively home-based players across the African continent. And since we're talking about the Lions' attacking power, let's now go to this report which looks at Cameroon's attacking options when they face Nigeria. as Cameroon's indomitable Lions flex muscles ahead of the dicey back-to-back World Cup qualifying clashes against Nigeria Super Eagles on September 1 and 4, earnest question marks continue looming over the quality of the reigning African champions' attacking engine. Away from the nostalgic era of the Patrick Mbomas, the Samuel Eto'os and the Desiree Jobs, who among them could easily tally 10 goals per competition at the turn of the century, and precisely at the 2000 and 2002 Africa Cup of Nations, the current generation of the squad's attackers have failed to replicate the upfront firepower prowess. The perceptibly heavily defensive selection, currently under the guidance of Hugo Broos, confirmed the hypothesis at this year's Africa Cup of Nations in Gabon. Of the 6 strikers enrolled for the tournament by the Belgian coach, only Vincent Aboubakar, Christian Bassogog and Benjamin Mukanjo found the net, scoring 3 out of the 7 goals that handed Cameroon victory. In fact, and paradoxically so, central defender Michael Gader emerged as the indomitable Lions' top scorer with 2 goals to his credit. And so, it may be safe to rush to the conclusion that the country's attack line has not been prolific enough to quench the thirst of goal-hungry fans. And as they look forward to closing the points gap when they meet the Super Eagles, commentators are wondering if Bassogog, Mukanjo, Aboubakar, Choupo-Moting and co will have what it takes to roar past Nigeria's solid defense line, manned by the likes of Germany-based Leon Balogun, William Ekong, Eldasin Echiejile and Shehu Abdullahi. Meantime, concerns also continue lingering over the Lions' defense left flank, where despite the existence and availability of the likes of Henri Bedimonsame, coach Hugo Broos has still not found a reliable and may be obliged to play right-footed Fai Collins at left back. Hamaka. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm sure that it means a lot to people who come from Baling. That's in the west region of Cameroon, and I'm mentioning that because we're going to rush you out there very soon to meet Fallon Mefumeto Cheno, Claudine, who comes from that place. Actually, she was crowned queen after she helped Cameroon to a swelling performance at the 2015 Africa Women's Cup of Nations. Well, she has moved clubs. She used to play for Arras FC in the French Division 2 Women's Football Championship. Now she's moved up 1 grade to the senior level, and that means Division 1 football in France. That's good news for people of Baleng. But there's bad news for Nigeria as they prepare for this Friday's game, because one of their biggest stars, Alex Iwobi,
who plays for Arsenal,
has a problem.
Has an injury, a muscle injury, during last week when he was playing for club, and so it's a blow on the face of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. You know, recently too, the coach said they are afraid of the Cameroonians because in terms of athleticism they are better placed than Nigeria. Plus the fact that plus the fact that they have a -1 player, it's truly risky for them.
Okay, it's good because you're talking about the coach. We're going to listen to an expert on football in the upcoming minutes, who is actually a white person. I don't know where Nigeria comes from with white-skinned, purely white-skinned people, and the name doesn't even sound Nigeria, but he keeps on saying our club, our victory, and this and that. We're going to be there in the next couple of minutes, but first of all, let's go out to France, take a break and watch why Fallon Mefumeto Cheno Claudine relocated from Arras FC to Guingamp.
Oh, Magavemula. Cameroon's national women's football team may have failed to lift the 2016 Africa Cup of Nations when they stumbled against Nigeria in Yaoundé last year, but the fabulous performance staged by the girls has continued earning them mouth-watering contracts. One of them, the dexterous right flank winger Fallon Chenome Fometu, has joined French Division 1 outfit Guingamp from D2 side Arras FC. The 27-year-old says the contract, whose financial connotations she declined disclosing, is the fruit of hard work and faith in her abilities. She says before leaving Arras FC for Guingamp, she received several offers from clubs within and beyond France, but insists her goal has always been to play the French First Division Championship. Meantime, qualifiers for the 2018 Africa Women's Cup of Nations begin in the coming months, and Fallon says she is looking up to them, even though she will dearly miss former coach Carl Enongachu, who has been elevated to the rank of Managing Director of the National Football Academy, ANAFoot.
Hopefully you got some coffee during that break. We veered off a bit from our focus for this installment of Sports Reel. The focus is the lead up to the Cameroon versus Nigeria big game on the 1st of September at the Uyo National Stadium, of course in Akwa Ibom State, across the border in Nigeria. Now, without any much ado, let's rush back to Nigeria to meet John Mercerudes. He's a football manager actually. He's white-skinned, but he claims to be Nigerian. Listen to him talk, and he has very deep insights into how Cameroon and how Nigeria should tackle Cameroon. He says in such games, the approach should be something he calls bone to bone. That's the first time I'm hearing this in football terminology. But let's go ahead and hear from John Mercerudes.
Is the deadliest enemy for Nigerian football. They have always been our major enemy, and we are meeting them again. This time I'm glad that they're coming as African champions, because I still believe there's only one champion in Africa, and that's Nigeria, and we've got to prove it. And this is a great chance that we have now to show that. And I am confident that we have a better football team than them. But in order to beat them, we have to play the African way, bone to bone. Well, of course, he's got the bragging rights at the moment. I mean, being African champion gives you an advantage. But then again, he's paid to say that. He's the coach of the Cameroonians, and I won't expect him to say anything other than that. But he should take also a little bit of remembering what happened to our own Eagles when we won, and the next competition we were out. So I mean, it can happen like that. I am sure that our coach knows how to what to do with our team. I suppose the most important thing is for us to be able to hold the ball. As long as we are holding the ball, we will put pressure on them. Because they, like I said, are people who tight mark, and they just kick the ball away from you, basically. You will never see great combinations in the Cameroonian team. So two fullbacks are going to play a major role. Right fullback, left fullback, those are people who will play a major role in our team.
A love that computer language when you hear, wow, wow. It's like a warning shot sounded in the direction of the indomitable hounds of Cameroon by John, of course. Well, I was saying, how could a white-skinned person claim he's Nigerian? But remember, everywhere across the world, you can obtain a different nationality and become a citizen of that country. Probably that's what he did to become a Nigerian. You could hear him there in very fine detail explaining how he believes in the Super Eagles of Nigeria, which he insists are the true champions of Africa. They are not the champions Cameroon are.
They are not the champions Cameroon are. You can decide to naturalize.
Yeah.
And so he has decided to naturalize. Fine and good for him.
And so he's wanting to coach Gernot Rohr, that's the German coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. It's for him to be able to have his players run away with the ball. He says Cameroonians love playing tight, packed. In other words, they don't have any time for constructive play, which means they will want to break out from the counterattacks and cross from the flanks and hit home the victory.
He spoke correctly, but I want to tell you, we play as the opponent. If you look at what we did in the 2017 African Nation Cup, when we played against Egypt, it was different. When we played against Ghana, it was different, and all other teams. So we played as per our opponent.
In other words, the last two games between Cameroon and Nigeria in 2004 and recently at the friendly in 2015 in Brussels in Belgium, victory was on the side of the green, white, green, not on the side of the green, red, yellow.
Well,
but overall, Cameroon have a better hand against the Nigerians.
We have a better hand against the Nigerians. If
you start counting from 1990, Cup of Nations.
About the 7 times that we've met, we've always be above Nigeria.
1984.
Yeah, 1990, 1992, 2000, 2002. We have always been supreme over them.
Some of those victories have been, clouded in controversy because some say the referees have always been in favor of Cameroon. But I remember this particular one in 2000 at the Lagos National Stadium. It was fire for fire. And finally, Cameroon got the day from a penalty shootout. Remember Rigobert Song taking the last kick? Am I mistaken?
Yeah, he did the last kick. I think it was 4-3, if not 5-3.
4-3 on penalties.
4-3 on penalty shootout. Quite tight. We first of all had 2-2 on both sides. When you can remember the famous language of Okocha, who said it's not here, when he made the hands like that.
No before here.
No before here.
If it happened for here.
Yeah.
But Cameroon went on anyway to grab that edition of the Africa Cup of Nations. Remember, it was a beautiful generation of Cameroonian players. Rigobert Songs. There's one name I hate to remember. He's called Etame, Laurent Mayer. That was to me one of the best players in living memory for Cameroon. Now let's go back memory lane and find out exactly what's happened from the clashes between Cameroon and their neighbors, Nigeria. Here we go.
(1984), Côte d'Ivoire. Cameroon and Nigeria, considered eternal football rivals, have a long history of confrontations. Nigeria's first ever meeting against Cameroon at the Cup of Nations dates back to the final of the 1984 edition staged in Côte d'Ivoire. It was Nigeria's second appearance in the final after 1980 when they hosted the tourney, while it was Cameroon's first. Back then, the late Mudashiru Lawal put the Super Eagles ahead in the 10th minute, but 3 goals from René Njia at the 32nd minute, the late Theophile Abega at the 79th, and the surging Ernest Ebonge at the 84th minute were enough to seal Cameroon's first ever AFCON title. (1988) Morocco. After failing to book a place at the Egypt 1986 AFCON, Nigeria returned to the continental big stage in 1988, playing in Group B alongside Kenya and Egypt. Cameroon forced Nigeria to a 1-1 draw in the second group encounter, with Roger Milla drawing level after Samuel Okparaji hit home the opener for the Super Eagles. Both sides progressed into the semi-finals, where Nigeria met Algeria and Cameroon faced hosts Morocco. After defeating Algeria in a thrilling semi-final clash, Nigeria once again met Cameroon in the final, hoping to avenge their 1984 AFCON loss, but a 55th minute penalty transformed by Emmanuel Kounde handed Cameroon victory. In fact, during the first half of the game, Henry Nwosu thought he had given Nigeria the lead after heading past Joseph Antoine Bell, but referee Idrissa Sarr of Mauritania inexplicably disallowed the goal for offside. 1990 World Cup qualifier. In the second round of the 1990 FIFA World Cup qualifiers, Nigeria were drawn in Group C with Cameroon, Gabon and Angola. Nigeria faced Cameroon on March Day 3 at the Liberty Stadium in Ibadan and won 2-0 thanks to goals from the late Stephen Keshi and Samson Siasia. Keshi put Nigeria 1-0 up in the 43rd minute before Siasia sealed the win in the 86th minute. Meeting in Yaoundé for the return leg game, and with Nigeria needing a win to top the group, the ball was set rolling, and eventually a 31st minute header by Francois Omambiyik secured victory for the indomitable Lions. (1992 AFCON, Senegal). For the fourth time, Nigeria and Cameroon crossed paths at the AFCON, this time in the third place match at the 1992 AFCON in Senegal. Thanks to 2 goals from Friday Ekpo at the 75th and the late Rashidi Yekini late into the game, Nigeria sealed a first Africa Cup of Nations win against Cameroon, who managed an equalizer through Emmanuel Mabuang at the 85th minute. (2000 AFCON, Nigeria). Ghana and Nigeria co-hosted the 2000 AFCON, but it was Nigeria who, after missing the 1996 and 1998 editions, qualified for the final. Standing between Nigeria and a third Africa Cup of Nations title were Cameroon, who were also eyeing a third title win. But the indomitable Lions shocked the Eagles in their own backyard at the cramped National Stadium in Lagos with early goals from Samuel Eto'o and Patrick Mboma. After the break, and keen on reversing the tides, the Eagles saw their hopes rekindled when Chukwu Raphael reduced tally to 2-1 before Austin Okocha made it 2-2 on 47 minutes. But the gods of African football were with Cameroon, who went on to win 4-3 on penalties, making it the third time they would beat Nigeria in an Africa Cup of Nations final match. 2004 AFCON, Tunisia. After winning the title in 2000 in Lagos, Cameroon went to Mali in 2002 as reigning champions and kept the cup again. But 2 years later, They lost the crown after bowing 1-2 to Nigeria at the quarter-final of the 2004 edition in Tunisia. Eto'o put Cameroon in front in the 42nd minute, but Okocha equalized with a brilliant free kick. And in the 73rd minute, John Utaka beat Carlos Kameni to give Nigeria victory.
Utaka making the forward run. Oh, what a terrific ball that was. This is a great chance for Nigeria. Utaka! Oh, yes! Nigeria in front! John Utaka kept a cool head when it mattered most. And look at the delight among the Nigerian supporters. They've turned this match around. 73 minutes played.
The game is over, I think.
But he does now, and it's a famous victory for Nigeria. A come-from-behind success.
And so between Friday, September 1st and Monday, September 4th, history will be reading again, and we'll be keeping the tabs and hoping that something juicy, sporting-wise, will come out of the confrontations for us to have something to write home about. It's on that note that we'll begin to call it quits. Thanks, Azilian, Mokum, Thomas.
Thank you very much for having me, Divine. And when we come here again on Wednesday, we'll be revisiting the Cameroon-Nigerian encounter back-to-back. That's tomorrow on Friday and on Monday. The best, we are reporters, not supporters. I think the best team should carry the day.
Of course, that's our wish. African football should prevail over all our considerations. Just like Tombi Aruko Siriki, of the, ejected president of the Cameroon Football Federation, says the interests of the nation should reign above his personal ambitions. I think that's the spirit Cameroon's national team should go into that game. And of course, that's what they should expect coming in from Nigeria. And so we'll be coming back here on Wednesday next week to give you all the highlights and all the contours, what you don't see on TV around that game. Until then, bye-bye.